All the way, I mean, it's a whole block. This is a block building. It's just been broken up in smaller spaces,
all right,
which is great.
We're in Boise still. This is Chuck Marone. Got John Reuter and Andrew Burleson with me. Now, I'm not an architecture critic, and I'm certainly not like schooled in architecture, but there's like, you essentially have two very similar blocks in terms of, I guess, the way they're designed to interact with the street. The way that they're laid out, the kind of spacing of the establishments, but two very different feels to it. And why don't, John, go ahead and describe what you see over on this one over here, the newer one. Right. You know, you pointed out some things when we walked by I thought were very good.
So one of the things that's interesting is if you look at the second floor on this building, it's all the same. It's clearly one single large building. And they've tried to go back in and delineate spaces along the building to give different facades to that street level there.
Right.
Which is improvement, clearly, rather than having just be one giant block building.
It's not a horrible street.
Right. But it still feels artificial when we compare it over against the street we walked just before, even the street over here.
Right, right.
Where you actually have older buildings that have now gone and they've added extensions to and they've played with, but it feels more authentic, the changes.
Right.
And even on this block here, you actually have, what, five different clear buildings here along this block.
Yeah.
So while the uses are almost identical, the feeling of them is different because of that lack of incrementalism, a lack of different heights at the top level there. On this block, we actually see some changes up and down in height of building.
Right, right.
So you end up having a more varied and interesting street to walk down.
Yeah. Well, you can even see on this 401 and 405 across the street here, that looks to me like it was one building that either part of it was redone or that it was added onto over time. It's clearly all internally linked, and the colors and a lot of the trims and details are intended to match. But you can see like the window heights and window patterns are different. You know, the floor height for the second floor on the corner is different from the floor height when you go the rest of the way down the block. So they obviously changed it up a lot as they either added on, or I guess it's possible it was in the original design, but it seems it's probably more likely that one building came first and then they later expanded.
It does, this block here feels more natural. And because of that, I think subtly more inviting than this block here, which, you know, while I think probably meets all the textbook stuff of, you know, if you were going to lay out a code for good urbanism, just doesn't quite reach the pinnacle of the other block. And I think a lot of that is just because it's not organic. It was dropped in at one point. Just one last thing. I was in a lecture that Andres Duany gave, and he talked about windows, and windows being like a key kind of indicator, or, you know, one thing that makes this kind of artificial feel. And you can see the windows here are very modern windows. And when you get over to the old building, you have, you know, very old, you know, different scale, different size, different moldings around the outside, different approach to windows. My guess is that from the inside, you probably prefer the new to the old. Maybe they're more light, or maybe it's, you know, better R factor or what have you. But boy, the windows here sure give this building a different feel.
Just on the window, I'll tell you this. Just on the window storage.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things when they were building Yale, they actually went around and they smashed the windows to make them look older, and then they re-put them together with like a Y in the window shape there. Yeah, and they actually took the tiles from the top of the roofs, and buried them all over the place so they could actually get an aged look before they put them back on the roofs again.
Very nice.
They were trying to create that Harvard level prestige. It was kind of interesting how people, you know, try to replicate that same sense, similar to what happened on these two blocks.
Well, I'm liking Boise so far. You know, we're talking about how to take good and make it great. So, you know, it's all trending in the next